man. Fake one turned real. Hashtag young game.
I blame you for the yawning up here because before when we were doing like our pre-show stuff, I did not yawn one time. Now I'll probably yawn 5 or 6 more times.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right.
But you started it.
I mean, maybe that's true, but we don't have to focus on blame.
No.
All right. So are you ready to learn more about the Bible today? Which we're getting into Daniel.
Back into.
Well, back into Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like this is the meatier part of Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to get weird quick.
Okay. I'm interested.
Get your shrooms ready because you'll need it. I'm just saying.
I mean, I feel like you won't need it.
I mean,
because Daniel's already done them for us.
Yeah, he has. Anyways, all right. So last time on the Bible. We finished with Job. Currently, Job is living at a luxury villa with his 27 kids right down the road from Pat Robertson, who at this time is not running off of pure hate and nuclear fusion. He's just a regular living person.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't come until later that he starts running off of hate and nuclear fusion.
Like now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so just so you guys know, it's been 12 years since we've talked about Daniel, which seems about right even for the podcast time. Because we were in Job for so long.
Yeah.
So anyways, Daniel served under Nebuchadnezzar and his sons in Babylon. Because if you remember 12 years ago, he got kidnapped, taken to Babylon, and put into servitude and everything like that. So today, though, we're going to be talking about 2 apocalyptic visions that he had during a fever dream. I'm guessing he had malaria or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Will we?
Yeah, we will.
Okay, all right.
Anyways, his first dream concerns 4 beasts, and they are pretty fucked up, let me tell you. It's like the island of Dr. Moreau, if anybody gets that reference. The 4 beasts, they come from the sea, so they are sea-dwelling creatures, apparently. But the first one is a lion, although this lion has fucked an eagle, and then a human apparently fucked that eagle beforehand, and then this weird amalgamation of different animal body parts and stuff kind of came forth, and so lion-type creature with some sexual morality issues. And then the second was a bear that apparently fucked a tortoise who also fucked a porcupine. I don't know how that worked. And then apparently the third one was just a leopard and a tiger got drunk and fucked each other. And then the fourth one was really messed up because it was a deer that had apparently fucked a whale, which had in turn fucked a narwhal, is what it was. So it was like a really weird kind of huge sort of creature. Anyways, that last one was really cocky though. Don't know why. It was probably just because of the narwhal's like single horn. Anyways, and he was the leader of this entire, really horrible boy band that just crept up out of the sea. And then a quote unquote son of man flew in on the clouds like fucking Superman and was just given authority, and he just flew in and he's like, I'm the boss, bitches. And so this really bothered Daniel. I would think that most people would, and so he sought psychiatric help.
Oh, he
which
did.
Is what that's what you should do if you have some kind of fever dream like this. Maybe ask somebody for some help. So the psychiatrist interpreted the dream, and Daniel was really seriously concerned about the deer, whale, narwhal beast that arose up out of the water. And who had apparently assumed the leadership position until Superman flew in from the clouds. The psychiatrist then explains everything in the dream, which included a battle between Jesus and the Antichrist, Damien.
Okay.
Jesus wins the fight, of course, because he's, Jesus. But it's mainly because Damien's a little bitch that can't take a little bit of a slap to the face.
You know what? Those Omen movies are creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Damien's also pretty entitled. He's like the rich kid's son. So he's like, you slapped me? I'm gonna go tell my daddy. Anyways, Dan then sometime later has a vision about a ram fucking with a goat. I don't know why. Anyways, the ram has a pretty powerful libido, so he was kind of going around and fucking everybody.
What?
Yeah, I mean, he was just sticking his dick into everything.
I didn't say that.
But a goat then comes by. He's floating, by the way.
Yeah.
He doesn't touch the ground whatsoever.
A floating goat?
Yep.
Okay.
Floating goat. And then he ninja slaps the ram, like, hacha!
Yeah.
And, just fucks the ram's horns up and everything like that. His main horn, probably. He probably karate
Rude.
chopped his dick off is what happened, actually.
No, I didn't say that.
The goat... the goat was a unicorn goat, though, because how goats do goats have horns? Yeah, goats don't normally have the two horns. This guy just had the one big horn coming out the front, so he was kind of like a unicorn narwhal goat, huh?
Unigoat.
A unigoat. Then the goat grew great in power, and so did his unicorn horn. So it just kept growing, and it was like just this majestic giant horn. I'm guessing this is synonymous with his dick. The horn then broke off, and then from this one horn little stump grew 4 horns.
What?
Okay, and then the goat yelled out loud and said, "Hail Hydra!"
What?
And so this is apparently the start of Hydra, is what he was dreaming here. Yeah, I mean that's the goat screamed out "Hail Hydra," and so this is where it all starts. For the Avengers, maybe. And then this one of the 4 horns developed cancer and ended up growing so large that it reached heaven and poked God in the butt.
What?
Or maybe the balls. I don't know. Probably both. I mean, probably as the goat was moving back and forth, it probably anyways.
This is not what we discussed.
The horn, this horn, whatever it was doing to God, apparently stopped the daily sacrifices. So just while this horn was up there doing whatever, God was like, I don't feel right taking the daily sacrifices right now. And it's gonna take a long time, 9,000 days, in order to clean all this shit up from the horn and whatever the horn's doing. And then Daniel was confused by this dream, as anybody would. I mean, I feel like that's normal.
I mean, I'm definitely confused by this.
Yeah. Some guy in the darkness just Daniel what Daniel heard was and then fucking Gabriel, just tell him what God's message is. Quit fucking around with him. And so Angel Gabriel comes in and just gives him God's message instead of giving him the fever dream again. And apparently the dream is about the end times, as Gabe is explaining everything to him. Apparently a fierce king is going to rise up, and he's going to fuck a lot of shit up.
Is that the big horn?
I guess so. And then Jesus is going to dick slap him and put him on his ass, and he's gonna win again because he's Jesus. He's basically Superman. And
don't insult
Daniel. Daniel was pretty spent after this, after having his mind fucked like that, and so it took a little bit for him to recuperate, but he eventually got up off his ass and went back to his normal day. And so that is the first two apocalyptic dreams of Daniel. So
this is not what we discussed.
Jesus bitch slaps Damien, and then Dick slaps the fierce king. Maybe he nut checks him. You ever heard of nut checking?
Yes.
Probably nut checked him really hard, and the king was like, "You win."
This is not what we discussed.
Is it not?
No.
Okay. What's up, heathens?
How y'all doing?
How you doing, honey?
I'm great.
Now, come on. I mean, my little intro wasn't all that all off, was it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep.
I totally got all that wrong?
Yep.
I feel like the Jesus part is right.
Okay. I mean, the fact that Jesus shows up, or the stuff that you said about what he does.
I mean, he ends up winning the fight against both of them. So, I mean, essentially the message is right. Y'all can't see her, but she's giving me serious side eye right now.
What is it that you started to say? X to doubt?
Yeah, press X to doubt.
Are you ready to go over the actual text?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think that mine was probably better.
I agree yours is better. I'm just saying yours is not right. But it's better.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, we're going back into Daniel. And in the timeline of this whole thing, because if you're new to this whole podcast, we're reading the Bible, but in chronological order instead of by book, you know?
Yep.
It's the daily Bible in 365 days. So we're back into Daniel now, and it's been about 10 or 12 years since the last time we heard from him and his visions and dreams, right? We know that Daniel was captured and put into King Nebuchadnezzar's service as a young man.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's earned a lot of respect within the Babylonian palace. He's earned a lot of respect, and people like him. And because he has successfully interpreted various dreams and riddles. So people rely on him and trust the things that he says.
Mm-hmm.
And he not only served King Nebuchadnezzar, but he's served a succession of Babylonian leaders following multiple of Nebuchadnezzar's sons. And he's currently, where we are in the story, serving Belshazzar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And during the first dream the first vision dream, whatever that we're going to talk about in chapter 7 is in Belshazzar's first year of rule. And the second is in Belshazzar's third year of rule. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to talk about. Are you ready to
Okay.
just get into them?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream, and visions passed through his mind as he was lying in bed. He wrote down the substance of his dream. Daniel said, "In my vision at night I looked, and there before me were the four winds of heaven churning up the great sea. Four great beasts, each different from the others, came up out of the sea. The first was like a lion, and it had the wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given to it."
Whoa, hold on a second. I'm just imagining like somebody tearing the wings off of this thing.
Yeah.
And then sewing some human feet on it and
Yeah.
then just sort of handing it a brain. Like, I don't know. That seems,
I mean, that's not exactly how it happened, but
it didn't happen at all.
I mean, in the dream,
Right.
not saying in reality. Okay. So that was the first beast. Kind of weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
There before me was the second beast, which looked like a bear. It was raised up on one of its sides, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. It was told, "Get up and eat your fill of flesh."
Fuck.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like it's deformed, but it's definitely mid-meal with apparently ribs hanging out of its teeth, which is probably gross.
Okay. So it's like eating something.
Yeah.
Like it's eating the ribs of like a moose.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't say.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I mean, it probably looks like you do when you're eating ribs,
What?
but you only eat one at a time.
I feel attacked.
I mean, to be fair, your ribs are delicious.
They are.
They are. You should make those soon.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Do them on the grill.
I mean, we could do them on the grill. We should get 2 packs and do them on the grill, and then do them how you normally do them, because I really like how you normally do them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, after that, Daniel, and there before me was another beast, one that looked like a leopard. On its back, it had 4 wings like those of a bird. The beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule.
Holy fuck. A 4-headed, 4-winged
Leopard.
leopard.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say beast.
Yeah, but leopard. 4-headed, 4-winged leopard.
I feel like that's just confusing. It's like, holy shit, man.
Well, and can you imagine this is the one that's in charge, 4 heads barking orders? Like, that would be confusing.
Don't pay attention to Jerome. He's got to stick up his ass.
They share the same ass.
I know.
Okay.
That's the joke.
Okay, so after that, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was a 4th beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from all the former beasts, and it had 10 horns.
10 horns?
10. While I was thinking about the horns... That's what he was thinking about. There before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them. So this little horn was growing bigger as he's thinking about horns.
I feel like these horns are phallic in shape.
3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes, like the eyes of a human being, and a mouth that spoke boastfully.
The horn started to talk?
The small horn, the little horn that was growing bigger.
Hey, you motherfuckers!
Yeah, it had eyes and a mouth.
Get you.
Yeah, it had eyes and a mouth. mouth and was speaking boastfully. As I looked, thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was as white as snow. The hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from before him.
This is a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Is this hell?
I don't think so. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him.
Christ.
The court was seated and the books were opened.
I don't think that you can open books amidst all that fire. I feel like books are very flammable.
I mean, those who were attending to him, these 10,000 times 10,000, were probably like away from the fire.
You think? I don't know. I mean, his throne was on fire. There was fire flowing from underneath his feet and everything like that. I mean, this man just really likes fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the books were, maybe they were.
Oh, you know what? He was probably standing there holding that flamethrower that Elon Musk did. He's probably, yeah, open the book.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This is
okay.
Elon Musk right here. This is.
Anyway, then I continued to watch because of the boastful words the horn was speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain and its body destroyed and thrown into the blazing fire. The other beasts had been stripped of their authority, but were allowed to live for a period of time. In my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man. Okay.
Coming on the clouds.
Coming with the clouds of heaven. Yes. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples of every language worshipped him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. So, there is a footnote I want to talk about for a second with Son of Man.
Right.
Okay, so in this portion, the Aramic phrase, bar anash, means human being. And that's the phrase that was here. It means human being, but they use the translation son of man because it was used in the New Testament as the title of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they changed essentially the translation from what it should be, human being, to point toward Jesus.
Well, I mean, I think they felt like this accomplished the same thing as saying a human being, because like son of man just means, I mean, that.
Not in this context. Son of man means Jesus. Son of man does not mean a human being.
Well, son of man is a very messianic phrase, but given the rest of this right here, I mean, I feel like it's talking about the Messiah of Judaism, like the human being. Like there was one before me, like a human being coming on the clouds of heaven. That's something that Jesus did, or the Messiah rather of Christianity did.
But the translation should be human being.
Well,
they've used the translation son of man to make it more powerful, more of a connection to Jesus in the New Testament.
Right. It makes it more explicit.
Which, not more explicit, it changes the meaning. It's not just human being, it's the Messiah.
Who was perceived to be a human being.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is I feel like this is a dishonest translation. I feel like this is a leading translation. They want you to think a thing, so they translated it in a way that was technically, I mean, not actually technically right, but son of man would be a human being. But I just think it's super dishonest. I feel like they should translate the words as they are.
I agree. I think that it would be better for them to translate it just as human being instead of son of man, but they kept it as son of man just because it was a more explicit connection to Jesus. And so it gives more of an allusion to like Jesus in the New Testament.
Sure. But then, Christians will use this and say, see, this is they're prophesying Jesus. That's what they'll say because they call Jesus son of man. But that's not what it actually says.
Right.
So I don't know. It bothers me. I feel
but you see, I feel like they could easily get around that by just passing right by the whole son of man phrase and, stating, well, Jesus was God in human form and as a human being.
Right.
And then the rest of from that point through 14, everything describes the Messiah of Christianity.
Well, right. So this dishonest translation wasn't even necessary.
I agree. It's not necessary, but they wanted to make it more explicit, and it's
I understand. My point is that I don't feel like the Old Testaments as translated by Christians can be trusted to actually be what they said.
I agree. You shouldn't trust what the OT because and I think that maybe that's in Isaiah. The part where they get that Jesus is supposed to be virgin born, they changed the meaning of that too. And so definitely with these messianic prophecies, they definitely change things to make it either more explicit or change the meaning altogether. So I definitely agree.
Yeah. Okay. You ready to continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to get the interpretation of all of this?
Yeah.
Since it's not obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I, Daniel, was troubled in spirit, and the visions that passed through my mind disturbed me. I approached one of those standing there and asked him the meaning of all this. I don't know what he means by one of those standing there, because when we started this out, he was in bed.
Yeah.
So anyway, maybe this is still in his dream. Maybe his dream was interpreted within his dream.
Maybe. I mean, it doesn't say that he awoke from his dream.
No, it doesn't. So maybe his dream was interpreted within. Anyway, he went and talked to a person. So he told me and gave me the interpretation of these things. The four great beasts are four kings that will rise from the earth. But the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. Then that was it. That's all the guy said.
Right.
For now. So Daniel was, still had some more questions. Then I wanted to know the meaning of the fourth beast, which was different from all the others and most terrifying with its iron teeth and bronze claws. The beast that crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head and about the other horn that came up before, which 3 of them fell, the horn that looked more imposing than the others and had eyes and a mouth and spoke boastfully. As I watched, this horn was waging war against the holy people and defeating them until the Ancient of Days came and pronounced judgment in favor of the holy people of the Most High. And the time came when they possessed the kingdom. I feel like this boastful horn is maybe Antichrist.
So waging war against the holy people and defeating them. Yeah, and I'm guessing the Ancient of Days. I'm wondering if maybe that is also a reference, because obviously if that horn is the Antichrist who would be waging war against the holy people, Jesus would be coming to bitch slap him down. So
the Ancient of Days, it says the Ancient of Days belongs to Adam, the oldest and earliest man, who is also identified with the Archangel Michael.
I've never heard of Adam being Michael.
Apparently that's how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints tells it.
Oh, okay. Well, Michael, could be. There's been some scholarly talk about how Michael could be could have been the Messiah in Judaism.
Also, within Christianity overall, they say Ancient of Days that can also refer to God. So
okay,
I don't know. I think we have some different interpretations. Imagine that.
Yeah.
So,
Michael being an archangel, he would definitely come down and defeat shit. Like he would fuck shit up. So
yeah. Okay. So he gave this explanation. The fourth beast is a fourth kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom. After them, another king will arise. Different from the earlier ones, he will subdue 3 kings. He will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for a time, times, and half a time. Now there's a footnote here. Apparently a time is a year, which at this time, they didn't have the same calendar that we have now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a time, times, and a half a time is translated here, a year, 2 years, and a half a year. I don't know why they can't just say 3.5 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
If that's what they mean. Or 3.5 times. I don't know. Anyway, but the court will sit, and his power will be taken away and completely destroyed forever. Then the sovereignty, power, and greatness of all the kingdoms under heaven will be handed over to the holy people of the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all rulers will worship and obey him.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the interpretation of that dream. Okay.
Right.
This is the end of the matter. I, Daniel, was deeply troubled by my thoughts, and my face turned pale, but I kept the matter to myself.
No, you didn't. Like he
You
didn't.
wrote it down and we're fucking reading it, Daniel.
Yeah, if you kept it to yourself, then why are we fucking reading it right now? Anyways, so obviously that the verses 26 and 27 right there are, about how Jesus, the Messiah rather, I don't want to say Jesus explicitly, but the Messiah is going to come. He's going to, establish an everlasting kingdom and everybody is going to worship. Like that's the end times, like that's apocalyptic.
Yes.
Like the apocalypse isn't going to come until the entire world is worshiping Jesus, basically, or the Messiah. Sorry.
All right. So that's the end of the first dream that he had in the first year of Balthazar's rule.
Okay.
So he had another vision, another apocalyptic vision in the third year of Belshazzar's rule. And it's about a ram and a goat. You ready?
Yeah, seems like a really weird party, but okay.
And this is Daniel chapter 8 for anyone who's following along. In the third year of King Belshazzar's reign, I, Daniel, had a vision after the one that had already appeared to me. In my vision, I saw myself in the citadel of Susa in the province of Elam. In the vision, I was beside the Ulai Canal. I looked up, and there before me was a ram with 2 horns sitting beside the canal, and the horns were long. One of the horns was longer than the other, but grew up later. I watched the ram as it charged toward the west and the north and the south, but not the east, because fuck the East. No animal could stand against it, and none could rescue from its power. It did as it pleased, and it became great. As I was thinking about this, suddenly a goat with a prominent horn between its eyes came from the west, crossing the whole earth without touching the ground. It came toward the 2-horned ram I had seen standing beside the canal, and it charged at it in great rage. I saw it attack the ram furiously, striking the ram and shattering its horns. The ram was powerless to stand against it. The goat knocked it to the ground and trampled on it, and none could rescue the ram from its power. The goat became very great, but at the height of its power, the large horn was broken off, and in its place, 4 prominent horns grew up toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Hail Hydra!
That's not there. Out of one of them, one of these 4 wind heaven horns, came another horn, which started small, but grew in power to the south and to the east and toward the beautiful land. It grew until it reached the host of the heavens, and it threw some of the starry host down to the earth and trampled on them. It set itself up to be as great as the commander of the army of the Lord. It took away the daily sacrifice from the Lord, and his sanctuary was thrown down. Because of rebellion, the Lord's people and the daily sacrifice were given over to it. It prospered in everything it did. The truth was thrown to the ground. All right.
Okay.
Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to him, "How long will it take for the vision to be fulfilled? The vision concerning the daily sacrifice, the rebellion that causes desolation, the surrender of the sanctuary, and the trampling underfoot of the Lord's people." He said to me, "It will take 2,300 evenings and mornings. Then the sanctuary will be reconsecrated." So, basic math. 2,300 evenings and mornings is about 6 1/3 years, almost.
Okay.
That's where we are. So that's the vision, but Daniel still needs an interpretation, right? Because you have to have this terrifying, weird ass vision that you don't understand, and then someone has to come and tell you what it means. Instead, they could just tell you from the beginning, but it doesn't work that way, right?
Right.
So while I, Daniel, was watching the vision and trying to understand it, there before me stood one who looked like a man, and I heard a man's voice from the Ulai calling, "Gabriel, tell this man the meaning of the vision." As he came near the place where I was standing, I was terrified and fell prostrate. I'm assuming because he's in the presence of the angel Gabriel. Mm-hmm. Son of man. Now, here, this was in Hebrew, and it was Ben Adam, which also means human being. Again, they changed this from what it was to son of man, to associate with the New Testament. To create that link more explicitly. Okay. Son of man, he said to me, "Understand that this vision concerns the time of the end." While he was speaking to me, I was in a deep sleep with my face to the ground. Then he touched me and raised me to my feet. He said, "I'm going to tell you what will happen later in the time of wrath, because the vision concerns the appointed time of the end, or will be at the end of the appointed time."
Right.
Okay. The 2-horned ram that you saw represents the kings of Media and Persia. The shaggy goat is the king of Greece, and the large horn between its eyes is the first king. The 4 horns that replace the one that was broken off represent the 4 kingdoms that will emerge from his nation, but will not have the same power. In the latter part of their reign, when rebels have become completely wicked, a fierce-looking king, a master of intrigue, will arise. He will become very strong, but not by his own power. He will cause astounding devastation and will succeed in whatever he does. You know who this sounds like? Jafar.
Jafar?
Yes, from Aladdin. He will destroy those who are mighty, the holy people. He will cause deceit to prosper, and he will consider himself superior. When they feel secure, he will destroy many and take his stand against the prince of princes. Yet he will be destroyed, but not by human power. The vision of the evenings and mornings that has been given to you is true, but seal up the vision, for it concerns the distant future. Apparently 6 years and a few months is the distant future.
Apparently it is the distant future. So I'm not exactly sure if this maps to like Greece. And because it talks about how the 4 horns, once broken off, are the 4 kingdoms that will emerge from, I guess, the Greece?
Well, the shaggy goat is the king of Greece, and the large horn is its first king. The 4 horns that replace the one that was broken off represent 4 kingdoms that will emerge from his nation, but will not have the same power. So yeah, I'd imagine this is 4 kingdoms, I guess, that Greece will be broken up into.
Let's see. Apparently, the Hellenistic world, which is the Grecian world, eventually settled into 4 stable power blocks. That would be the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, the Seleucid Empire of the East, the Kingdom of Pergamon in Asia Minor, and Macedon.
Okay.
I mean, to me, this just says that this dream was written after the fact, like after all of this had occurred. That would be the first place that I would go, like if I'm reading this.
I'm not sure exactly. Let's see. The next, so we're around sometime mid 500s BC, I believe.
We're in mid 500s.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alexander the Great, who is the great king that fell, and then the 4 places, the 4 regions sprung up from.
Mm-hmm.
After Alexander's sudden death, his empire disintegrated into a 40-year period of war and chaos in 321 BCE, and then it eventually settled into the 4.
This was supposedly in 552 BC.
I seriously.
That's when Belshazzar became co-regent.
Oh, yeah. The 500?
552.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's written much, much earlier than that. The book of Daniel is a 2nd century BCE biblical apocalypse, and it's set in the 6th century BCE, which is... So it was actually written in the 2nd century, so this is definitely written after.
Okay. Sorry, I have to find where we were because I've been flipping through.
I believe we're at...
Gotcha. 827. Okay. We're at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anyway, that's what's going to happen apparently. And this last king, right? This powerful king that comes, he'll be defeated, right?
Yeah.
But not by human power. Okay. And he says the vision of the evening and mornings is true. So it's going to take 6 1/3 years for the, sanctuary to be reconsecrated.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, that's the end of the dream. Daniel was worn out. I lay exhausted for several days. Then I got up and went about the king's business. I was appalled by the vision. It was beyond understanding.
Well, it wasn't beyond understanding. They fucking explained it to him.
Yeah, they explained it.
I mean, it's not beyond understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, hey, dude, all this shit's going to happen, but, you just need to shut the fuck up about it and not talk about it, okay? But yet we're here fucking reading it now.
Yeah, it's interesting because the visions are supposed to bring messages of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But they're like seriously terrifying and weird as hell.
Yeah.
I think he was on shrooms. This would track with how I know people to act when they are on shrooms.
Oh, yeah.
But that's all for today. Next time we're going to stay in Daniel, but we're going to be going a little bit backwards to Daniel chapter 5. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is a little weird.
Well, yeah, if we're supposed to be going in chronological order, apparently he had the dream and then he shut up about it, but he doesn't tell us about it until he's starting in chapter 7. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not in order. Chapter 5 is actually chronologically after.
That's weird.
Yeah, so we're not actually going back in time. We're going forward in time, but we're going backward in the book.
Right.
Okay, because this whole entire book is
horribly written.
Yeah. So, and this is going to jump forward about 7 years.
Okay.
And he's going to have, he's going to be called to interpret some writing on a wall, right? And the wise men of Belshazzar's kingdom can't interpret it. So Daniel was brought in and he explains the reasons and interprets it. And then he was elevated because of his interpretation, because of what he said, he's elevated to the third highest ruler in the entire kingdom.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we're going to find out the fate of Belshazzar. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to move from that chapter 5. We're going to go to chapter 9, which is where we're ending today, end of chapter 8. So we're going to go chapter 5. Then next week, we're going to move to chapter 9. And Daniel is going to read a copy of Jeremiah's prophecies. You remember we did Jeremiah's prophecies?
Mm-hmm.
Daniel's going to read those and pray about it. And then he's going to talk to Gabriel again, right?
Right.
And Gabriel's going to explain some shit to him, including what the 77s are. Not 77s.
Right.
Okay. So we're going to learn about that next week.
Yeah, I believe that's how they do the dating for when the Messiah was supposed to come.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about it. And that's what we're going to do. And then the week after that, Daniel and the Lion's Den.
Oh, wow. Cool. So we got some pretty cool shit coming up.
Yep.
All right. Well, if y'all want to know about the 77s, whatever in the fuck, that might be a gang that we talk about next week.
Yeah.
If y'all want to learn more about that, then I guess y'all have to stay tuned then. And until then,
Don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
bye, heathens.
Bye, y'all.